Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second day of our event called 7 Minutes with Civil Society. Today, we're going to be together with the civil society organizations who participated in the EU-funded Empowering CSOs grant program. We will be listening to their project journeys and we will get to know them better thanks to this event. Throughout this event, we will be together with CSOs, 14 CSOs from Ankara, Bitlis, Diyarbakır, Hakkari, Istanbul, Izmir, and Kars, and they all work to combat discrimination. On day one, we were together with the civil society organizations who were active in the fields of cultural heritage, memory, and gender. And today we will be together with CSOs who work in the fields of human rights, the rights of people with disabilities, refugees, young people, freedom of expression, and media. Before we start, we have a question for you. Please write your answers in the chat box. What do you think are the areas or fields that the refugees have problems or difficulties in Turkey? So I will give the floor to Damla Uçar, our first speaker from Clean Clothes Campaign. Hello, everyone, and thank you. My name is Damla Uçak from the Clean Clothes Campaign. Before I give some information about our project, let me talk about our association. We are an association that is working to improve the working conditions of textile workers so that they will have healthier working conditions and they will get more fair wages. In addition to that, we know that the concept of occupational diseases are not very well known in Turkey, and working conditions are not in line with the occupational working rules. We have a website called meslekhastalıkları.org, whereby we share information about occupational diseases and we try to create awareness in that regard. In this project, we were focusing on the Syrian migrants, Syrian migrant workers and the occupational diseases that they were subject to. By the way, we have to say that we mainly focused on the areas where we had the highest amount of occupational diseases, and the working conditions that are already poor are even poorer when it comes to Syrian migrants or migrants in general, let's say. And the worst jobs are actually assigned to migrant workers. So we have prepared a booklet, and you see the cover of the booklet called What You Should Do If You Have an Occupational Disease. We have identified 12 different sectors, and we shared information about these sectors. We have prepared small pocket guides about these sectors. And of course, we worked with occupational health and safety experts, and we also received the support and input of academics when we were identifying these sectors. Very briefly, I will try to give you information about what we are addressing in these booklets. For instance, in our booklet about construction sector, we have this information, as you see, and we try to identify the problems regarding the specific sectors. For instance, exposure to dust. Who are the people who are exposed to dust? And then what should the employer do to avoid such a problem? What are the healthy working conditions that should be provided by the employers? We are addressing these issues. And in other areas such as noise, radiation, vibration, we have other details as well, specific to sectors. Of course, if you see occupational diseases a lot in a certain field, it also means that you would see a lot of occupational accidents in that field. We did not prepare a specific booklet for occupational accidents, but we try to provide brief information about the types of occupational accidents that could occur in specific sectors. And we also have put some brief information about the rights of workers who are subject to occupational accidents. Now let's talk about the distribution of the booklets. You see some pictures on your slide about how we distributed the booklets. Well, of course, it was the pandemic, the COVID-19 period, so we weren't able to do the things as we desired. But despite this fact, I'm taking into consideration the conditions, we were able to distribute the booklets to a wide range of people. And we also can see from the pictures and our dialogue with the workers that not only the necessary measures are not taken in these sectors in general, but also the measures against COVID-19 are not taken specifically as well. And here I have a slide like this to explain you something. On the first photo, you see the construction workers. When we were distributing the booklet on construction to them, we had the chance to have lunch with them and talk to them, have a dialogue. But in another area, for instance, in the second photo, you don't have the chance to establish contact with them. If you're not able to enter the facilities, the plants, if the workers are isolated, if they are commuting to work through their shuttles, we had difficulty accessing the workers in specific institutions or facilities. And here you see a picture of our mail distribution. First, we mail the booklets collectively to a certain location. And because of COVID-19, the migrants associations were working from home, of course, and the distribution of some of these booklets took place later. And will take place later. Once the associations are opened, we will be resending them their posts or mail. So initially we send a bulk of booklets, and then we also continued sending other booklets. And this is a slide showing the locations where we sent the booklets. For instance, Zonguldak, Aydın, we sent mining booklets. Or for the leather trade union, we sent a booklet about the leather sector. So we selected specific sectors, and we mainly went to the industrialized sites, zones of industry, to distribute the booklets by hand. And we also prepared some videos. We have small pocket guides or booklets. They have some detail, but we also prepared more compact information in the videos, 1.5 minute videos. And on our website, we uploaded this information, the pictures, and other than the people we directly contacted, we also wanted to make sure that these booklets were accessible online. And within the framework of this project, the website was translated into the Arabic, in addition to the already existing English and Turkish format. So we shared the booklets in Arabic as well. And on the Turkish website, we had agricultural workers, cosmetic sectors, laundries, animal care, occupational diseases, and information in these fields were also translated into Arabic and uploaded on the website. To make sure that the website came through in Arabic search, we tried to carry out the necessary activities so that our website would be among the top search results in Google. So in terms of the information it's providing, there are a lot of followers and we receive a lot of interaction on our website. Of course, we added the Arabic booklets and other blog articles. We have seen an increase in visitors number. So in December, we were able to increase all the way up to 426,000 from the previous 25,000. Again, because of COVID, we had to alter the project. We had a minor alteration. So through social media advertorials, we tried to share the information on Facebook to reach out to more people. And when we were doing this, of course, we identified specific areas. For instance, the mining video was posted in Zonguldak area in order to reach out to people who are really involved or interested in this area. We also renewed our website, the Clean Clothes campaign website. It was an old website. So now, before, people were not able to access to that part where they could get information if they had a occupational disease. Now it's more user-friendly. We have added a new segment whereby they can access this part. And if you were to ask me what's the most important contribution of this project to your work, I could easily say that the social media posts and messages were the most important part. Through social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and sometimes even by phone, the workers reach out to us, ask questions, and mainly they ask, I have an occupational disease, what should I do? So of course, we provide an answer to the people who ask this question, but we also send them this booklet that explains what they should do if they have an occupational disease. So this way, they have more detailed information in a more comprehensible manner. And similarly, sometimes we receive questions saying that I have such and such problem. Is it considered an occupational disease? This is what people ask us. Of course, this is not something we can know, but we refer the people to the relevant booklets or videos. We provide them with some recommendations. And generally speaking, we received the questions about the 12 sectors on which we have prepared the booklets. And let me wrap up by thanking, this was a very challenging period because of the pandemic, but still, we had the chance to work with someone who is a Syrian, who is an American. We had the chance to come together with people with different sets of skills and competences. Although this was a difficult process, it was a very fun and enjoyable process in this project. That's why I would like to thank you a lot for this opportunity. Thank you, Damla. Thank you for your ongoing contribution and what you have shared with us. Thank you. Now, I will give the floor to Nurser Aslan from Association for Solidarity with Refugees. Hello, everyone. My name is Nursen Aslan. I worked as the project coordinator in the project called Production of Efficient Short Films and Public Spots to Tackle Discrimination Against Refugees. So this was a project that lasted for 15 months in order to reveal how discriminatory language is generated against refugees. We have seen that this has an important impact on society and how they perceive refugees. So we tried to see what we could do. So we selected 20 students studying in Izmir, and they went through a 250-hour training process, and we came together to produce 10 short films. Our project announcement was also received by people who weren't students. We also accepted their applications. So as the field was cinema or filmmaking, it's important to convey information through your feelings. So we had some workshops whereby we tackled the processes of asylum, how the refugees become refugees. So unfortunately, after a short while, we started the project, the pandemic broke out, and we had to suspend our physical workshops. And we thought and we hoped it would be a short suspension. Unfortunately, we had to complete our workshop activities on an online platform. And when we were talking about being refugees, we try to explain people that it's not a single topic. It's different if you are a women refugee, if you're a refugee with disabilities or an LGBTI plus refugee, child refugee. It has its own challenges, and to fight against this, you need to know your rights. And we received support from the relevant experts. And our subjects were the refugees. So we tried to explain people the things that we should pay attention to when working in the field of refugees and human rights. So that's how we addressed this issue since the beginning of our activities. And for our workshops, we try to focus on good practices and bad practices as well, because sometimes you might have good intentions. You want to talk about discrimination, you have to use certain visuals to talk about discrimination, but many people while doing that are actually regenerating that discriminatory language, although they do not mean to do so. That's what we addressed and talked about in our workshops. And in the activities carried out so far, we tried to show people how this impacts the individual lives and the community life of people. And we had also script writing workshops. We tried to make it a diverse field of topics. And in addition to writing or using a right style, we also told people that you need to use the right type of language, make it understandable. And as we have been saying, it shouldn't be regenerating and repeating discriminatory language. That was the focus of our workshop. And during the workshops, we wanted all participants to write scripts, identify topics, and we came together many different times to further develop the scripts. And we also had shooting and editing workshops with the participants. And shootings were really difficult without cameras, without seeing the light system. We tried to use simulations to explain the topic to people, but we were very lucky. We had trainers from the economy university. They really supported us. So we completed the workshops online, started shooting. Unfortunately, on day one of the shooting, we had the Izmir earthquake. And I've seen the following. As I went through this experience, I feel myself very lucky, but I really believe that the field of arts has a unifying and healing element. Despite all challenges, it keeps you together. If you are sure of what you are going to say, that it's right and it's impactful, no challenge can prevent you from doing your business. This was one of the coldest days in Izmir where we had the shooting. The recording. So here you see the film plateau whereby all the children were refugees, real refugees. And we had the chance to emphasize once again the fact that while we are working with refugees or children, what are the things you need to pay attention to from a human rights lens, and what, for instance, people's rights, the importance of making them sign the consent form. So we also repeated and went through again or emphasized again the importance of such issues. This is a screenshot from our last online training. And while writing the scripts, as I said, we paid attention to the diversity of topics. Of course, with the topics, the language was also diverse. I would like to thank again and again our participants. They really were in great solidarity and harmony with us. They worked hard. And this was a Kurdish script. And this is a photo from the shooting of that script. So we try to see what are we doing as CSOs? Because asylum or refugee issues do not impact only the refugees, but people who are in contact with them as well. And that's how we completed the short film. Apart from the topic, in terms of style also, we wanted to pay attention to diversity. One of our short films is going to be an animation. It's about children, refugee children, and it's called Lena Silverberry. It's written and completed, but unfortunately all phases, because of the pandemic, all phases were carried out on an online platform. But despite this, being together, saying the right thing, giving the right message to the community and being an instrument for passing along this message was really a motivating thing for us. That's what we saw. And our films are almost completed. Unfortunately, we are going to have the screenings and conversations after the films on an online platform as well. We want to reach out to more people. That's why the films will be screened in festivals as well. The details of the project, behind the scene shots of the films and other activities can be reached out from our social media accounts. Please follow our accounts to reach out to us. And thank you so much. Well, thank you. We say creative methods in combating discrimination. That's what we have seen. Thank you very much for sharing it with us. Well, thank you indeed. Thank you for this event. Thank you for this project. I would like to thank the participants again. In this difficult time, they worked hard.
We have listened to two presentations. Now is the time to get the questions. You could type your questions in the chat box, or you could raise your hand and ask your question here. Let me check if there's anyone raising hand. All right, Emel Danışman. Please go ahead, but make sure you've chosen the right language channel. You should be on the Chinese channel. All right, we can hear you. Good morning, Nursel. I'm a project participant from Mülteci Dar Association. The reason I wanted to have the floor is we've had an excellent project in the past 15 months. We wish there were no pandemic condition, then we would have had great fun. We would have had great opportunities to work in an interactive way. Everything we did had to be over Zoom platform online. And the shooting process regarding the movies, it was demanding and we were quite meticulous. But to what extent we could do that well? Well, that's a question mark. We took risks seriously, personally. I am very satisfied with what we did. I think we left something good behind. Even when we're not around here one day, the movie will be here for other people to see for the coming years. Maybe by then there won't be any more wars, there won't be any more pandemic. So I just wanted to thank the association, Nurseli. I just wanted to thank you so much for making me a part of this. Thank you for your wonderful comments. Emel Hanım, Nursel Hanım, it's over to you. That's how we felt throughout the project. Had there been no pandemic conditions, that would be much different. But despite the pandemic conditions, not just that, we also had to overcome other challenges, but we've been able to produce it. And we've proven this. Against all odds, we've been able to do this. This shows us that when we're in solidarity, we can make use of the healing power of art and artistic activities. We were able to do this and achieve this against all odds. We feel we're so lucky. I believe we would have felt depressed if we hadn't been able to produce it. We hope we made a little bit contribution to reduce discrimination in the society. We hope this will be a little bit contribution to improve the conditions. I hope we could create a good impact, and I hope this is a sustainable effort. We always pay attention to make sure this is a sustained effort. This is a very good start. I see this as a starting point. There will be more to come. I'm sorry I took a long time, but that's what I wanted to say. Thank you. Regarding Syrian refugees and to what extent they caught the virus, there's a question in the chat box. Do you have any rates and facts and numbers? Damla, what about you? Do you have a source you could share with us as an answer? This is just a general question by Shehbar Eviner. During this period, we checked occupational diseases and we tried to make COVID-19 a occupational disease. Some may claim during COVID-19 period, textile workers having to work in confined spaces, they may be under extra risk to contract the virus. Some circles consider it like that. However, In order to reveal the facts, we searched the data belonging to the workers. It is easy to have access to information of workers who died because of a disease. However, regarding other areas, it's not so easy. You need to collect the data from associations, unions, the ministry. In an aggregated way, it's difficult to have access to that data. We searched a lot regarding the refugees, not just refugees, even the Turkish citizens' data is not easy to access, to tell you the truth. Thank you, Damla. Nursel Hanım, would you like to add something? Here is what I'd like to say. Informal economy mostly refers to refugees. In identification of occupational diseases, in the definition of occupational diseases to encompass COVID-19, it is not easy to have access to statistics. Plus, we have the problem of informality, informal economy. Of course, we inquired about the problems encountered by refugees. The first thing that comes to my mind has to do with informal work for the refugees. Of course, occupational diseases, accidents. So the point is, it's not very easy to reach a statistically significant result. Thank you, Nursen Hanım. One more comment made over YouTube. I'd like to read it out to you, and then maybe we can close the session. Here is the comment. Without having a radical awareness, it's not easy to reach a result in the field of refugees. It's not maybe easy to maintain their physical existence, but refugees being accepted and embraced by the society, well, it's not really happening, and that's where we're having the problem. We should overcome this problem. Maybe we can spend the last minute discussing this. What are your thoughts about them being integrated into the society and this not being exercised as a right at the moment? Being a refugee is a right. Our association is working on this, and we're communicating this message in our movies and films. Being a refugee is a right for individuals, and refugees should have access to their rights. Otherwise, it is a violation of their rights. We're trying to communicate these messages. What is it, being a refugee, being a migrant? We're trying to communicate these through our films and movies. And that's what we've been doing in so many years. This is absolutely a right. It's not like a choice. Some people may have it, some people may not. Regarding integration and cohesion, social cohesion, this is a very hot debate. And we need to change the perception. We need to have a broad scale activity. The media language should change. The language used by the politicians should change in order to achieve it. And it's not going to happen overnight. And we need to act as a whole to achieve this change. Damla, you can wrap up. After that, I'll get one last question and that will be it. I agree with Nursen. Let's take an example from media, politicians. They make statements. Sometimes these statements provoke people, and some statements try to legitimize violation of rights or try to make violations invisible. We see such reactions in the society, and we regret to see such reactions, such statements. There are many groups and circles in the society. There are different identities that end up being oppressed, unfortunately. As Nursen said, this involves many fields. We need to involve many fields all at the same time. And I believe over time, things will improve, in my opinion. Thank you, Damla. One last question here regarding refugees and capitalism. To what extent refugees are aware of capitalism, and how about their education level? What a broad question regarding the economic system. Maybe we could get one sentence from you. We have we have a COVID-19 textile sector report that will be published soon. We will report some results in the report regarding the situation of refugees, but the results apply to Turkish citizens as well. There are some workers, 16 years, 17 years, there in the informal sector. And we have a question to ask whether they are a member of an association or a union, trade union. Well, they have no idea what a trade union is in the first place. And even if they're aware of it, they're not a member of it because they fear being dismissed from their workplaces. And when you ask about this, the answer you get is they don't want their employer to know they are a member of a trade union if they are a member. And if they're not, they feel scared because they think they may not find a job in the future in the labor market, or their employer will get mad. They may be sacked. So individuals don't want to exercise their rights. They think it's to their benefit, it's in their favor to waiver these rights. This is how they see it. Nursan Hanım, how about you? I'd like to talk about the education part in this question. In the initial years, children couldn't have access to education. And then new schools opened. Students, were not integrated well in the classrooms, and they faced bullying in the classrooms. An 11-year-old had to go to first grade, or a non-Turkish speaking child had to attend a fully Turkish language school. Lots of children had to drop out of school. They couldn't attend classes. And among the adults, I mean, those children have become adults, but they spend so many years away from education system. So this was an undesired result. So many people couldn't have access to education. We talk about millions of people, refugees. I don't think we have an exact answer, but things seem to be improving at the moment. And there is no concrete barrier, but still they face some other barriers that hinder their integration. Let's take an example. There was a 15-year-old we interviewed during the shootings. We asked this person, and the person said has never attended school because he doesn't believe in the importance of attending school, because all he needs is to make money. He was making money out of shoe repair. This is a whole other life, and this person has never considered attending school because he needs money to make his bread in the first place. So, well, this is so sad. Children have the right to have access to education, but the reality is totally sometimes different. That was my point. Thank you very much. What a broad question. Thank you for trying to elaborate on this question. This brings us to the end of this session.